Thank you, Juliana Pancheva, the organizer of this conference here in Plovdiv. This is my dear friend and colleague, the president of CIRCOM, Jean-Marc Dubois.
Hello.
And I'm Johan Lindén, the Secretary General. And we have phrased this introduction as the defining moment, collaborate or die. Now we're going to explain this. This is a fantastic time for everyone in this group. We are working in a completely unique situation. And we are here, gathered here to pause from our daily work, think, share, go home and do better. And we need it. Because if we don't define public service, broadcasting, media, and journalism in new ways, we might really die, and it's going to happen fast. International research is very clear on this, that there are positive correlations between public service media and journalism, independent journalism, and people's engagement in society and well-functioning democracy. And good regional journalism, this is also a fact in research, helps developing cultures, identities, and democracy. But this research is ancient. It is as old as an iPhone. Everything has happened so fast. Change that happened in 60 years for television now happens in 1 or 2 years.
Of course, CIRCOM has a real legacy. We have been created in 1983 by 4 TVs, ARD, the German, the Belgian, RTBF, the Rai, the Italian, and France 3, the French television. And I would say that after now 30 years, we're still here, we're still alive. We are 33 members, 250 stations, more than 10,000 journalists, a tremendous network. We learned how to change, to redefine ourselves, and as Johan is saying, we are again trying to redefine ourselves.
We are witnessing an explosion of content, fact, information, audience that can participate in what we do, they can comment, and they can make their own stories. There are numbers of voices, much more than ever. All the things are there to create an even better democracy. Somehow that doesn't happen by itself. For us, it's hard to tell when a story starts, when it ends, and when it dies. Long tails and the right to be forgotten. This is just the beginning of where we're at.
For CIRCOM, this means sharing best practices and developing new formats. This means that there will always be a need for high-quality journalism to serve the community, with fact-checking, analysis, and sense-making. In this overflow of information, we need to continue with delivering the very best regional journalism. That's fundamental for CIRCOM. We also believe it is very important to deliver more. That's why we decided to create a training on data journalism. In a few months, SVT, the Swedish and the BBC, the English, will get together in a workshop about this topic, and we think this could last for a long time.
Let's face it, journalism has always been defined and developed by technology. We are located as a regional broadcaster where there is a signal, where the possibility to have a signal is located. It's not primarily where the audience is. And in some countries it did have a military historical criteria, also regional television. Through technology and innovations, the media has developed. It gave us color, it gave us HD, stereo sound, and it gave us the possibility to do more with less people for less money. But as I said, it took 60 years, and now everything has sped up. We, as public broadcaster, used to be influential because our journalistic research, our production, and our means of distribution, these were all hugely expensive And this is the reason we have power today, is because no one else could afford to do television, or even regional television. Today, a YouTuber can, by him or herself, have a 50 million audience, all done in the living room. We have several examples in Sweden of that.
Facing new technologies has always been part of CIRCOM's DNA. We created VJ. We were part of the beginning of VJ. VJ for video journalism means a crew with only one person. Nowadays, at that time it was in the 90s, it was a sort of bizarre thing. Now, all the television have VJ, except my television, France Télévision, where it's not allowed to go in a reportage alone. But that's another story. After VJ, we are now going for Mojo, for mobile journalism. A sort of bad word that is becoming a trendy word now. We have Mojo training that was this week, started last Friday in Sofia, where 12 journalists went together to learn how to work with the mobile, and they will show you something afterwards. And we are very proud to be this trend, because nowadays it's something that is becoming common. And one of the creators of the Mojo has been the RTE, with Michael Lally, who is here. And now, I was at the MojoCon in Dublin a few weeks ago, and I can tell you that when you have 3 billion smartphones in the world, and in 2020 it will be 6 billion, you can't avoid this fact. It's not a question of fashion, it's just a question of a new way of producing, and we have to adapt. Regional TV have to adapt to the mobile, which is light, cheaper, and can do very good images. So I can't tell you where we're going to go in the years to come with the mobile, but I think it will be a great thing. And talking about technology, we also, with the Irish, had the workshop about broadcasting from the field. It means for regional TV it's very important to be able to broadcast in a light way, directly from the field, not being obliged to go back to the station, and because it takes time. And we had a workshop on 4G, 3G, 4G, maybe 5G in the years to come, K-set, K-band with the IP, and that was a great exchange of practices.
Research also tells us that most social media users share news or comment on news. And this is fantastic for us. Now we actually can see if people are caring of what we're doing. Great development, you can say. It's also turning the so-called audience, the formerly called audience, into participants in what we are doing, which is also great. But this complicates things, because audiences in our world were defined by geography and proximity. Nowadays, audiences define themselves from interest, what they're interested in. Does that mean something for regional public service media? Are we relevant if we are only basing our journalism on proximity?
That's why CIRCOM decided to have a workshop also about social media, how to use social media in regional television. It was in Amsterdam, because the Dutch are well ahead with the use of social media. That was very useful for the rest of the CIRCOM members.
In this internet era, the connected era, the key to attention and economic success is the control of a platform, to own the flow, and in a sense, the audience. Almost all media in here have a social media strategy. CIRCOM has a social media strategy. We put everything we do, both in Google, Facebook, Twitter, because that's the way we think we reach our members, our audience, and new members and audience. Everyone in this room, I believe, do the same. In some countries in Europe, 70 to 90% of all the clicks or connections with users comes through Facebook. This is, of course, if you're in the newsroom, great. You get a lot of clicks from Facebook. But can there be a problem here? Are we a bit naive on this? Well, one of the problems, to start with, is that the underlying principle and strategy of the platforms, which are American, leads to monopolism. Monopolism is not good for information, the freedom of information, and democracy.
Because of this platform, we have to show as regional public service media what we are, our excellence and in the European values. That's why we decided to cooperate and work with the main institution in Europe. The European Parliament, and Fernando Carvalho is here, with the European Commission and the DG Regio, Mr. Jimenez, European Committee of the Region, Mr. Bulgaria is here to represent, and Mrs. Vesta. Excuse me for, I can't get your name, excuse me. And the Council of Europe, with Alan Drake, I saw Alan, is here. And that's a proud for CIRCOM to work with this great institution. We also cooperate now with the university, especially Leeds Beckett University, and Mrs. Tiana Harper, who is here. And because we decided to apply for the Erasmus Plus project to create new kind of training for CIRCOM, academic training. It means that in the years to come, if we succeed in our application form about Erasmus Plus, we will have academic training for all our members and people outside also about ethics of journalism, about module journalism, about data journalism, about the new trends like 360 coverage, constructive journalism maybe. So it's a great pleasure for us to work with the university. And to show our excellence, we also have, of course, the pre-CIRCOM that you all know, more than 200 regional programs shown together, the only international competition dedicated to regional programs. Well, we have to talk also about money and austerity. That's one of the points.
Yes, and I'm happy to have colleagues and friends from the European institutions and from journalists from all over Europe, because we have a European problem. Facebook and Google are dominating on internet. And the leading world platforms, they have a market capitalization of $4 trillion. Only 4% of this comes from European firms. So this is the balance or the non-balance in Europe. So we have a common problem here, because these platforms that are the greatest publishers of all time, we're talking about billions of readers and users, they have no ethical standards, no accountability, no transparency, and no responsibility towards citizens or societies. Kind of the total opposite of public service media. So is it good that we have really offensive Facebook strategies? Is it good that we are working with these platforms? I think that most of us, including myself, are a bit naive, or have been a bit naive. Public service, business, core business, is to serve the needs of individuals, people, and societies. This is our unique selling point. What we are doing right now is using our good journalists, giving it to Facebook, luring in the audience to Facebook, which Facebook then sells. A combination of where you are, what you read, what you share, with pictures, audio comments, everything is piled together and sold. So we are helping making our audience into commodities. This is not why we are in this business.
And because of that, we also decided to create a strategic seminar for senior managers, the one that lead the regions in Europe, because they have to get together to exchange their own problems. We had the first seminar in Amsterdam a few months ago. Some of these top managers were together. They worked on future of regional TV, and that was very useful. They decided to have a second meeting in August in Oslo, because once a year was not enough. So now maybe it should be twice a year. We all share the same kind of problems, as you know, organization, money, new formats, newcomers, competitors, the value of the public service. So that's a good opportunity for people to meet and find solutions.
You might think that I'm stuck with talking bad about all these fantastic platforms, so I have to talk some more bad about the platforms. One of the problems that we seldom discuss within the public service media family is the total ecosystem for media and independent journalism. What is happening now in many countries, depending a bit about the proliferation of technology, is that since Google and Facebook are much better advertising instruments, other media, commercial media, is losing their advertisements. And it happens fast, and it first hit the press, hit the radio then, and now it's hitting television. In America, internet advertising is soon passing television advertising. So this is a big shift. Is this a problem for us, really? Well, it is. Recently, in European history, we have seen how governments are more and increasingly interested in controlling journalism and public service media. It's very close, and it's all over Europe. We can even, but we can discuss if that is really a problem, see that the British government now wants to put their own people in the BBC board. Last week that was proposed. So we can see this tendency. Public service media need commercial independent media. The democracy needs it. So if we are helping Google and Facebook to get advertisements, and we are at the same time killing journalism in our own countries. This is a connection that we need to discuss much more in our strategic seminars.
Yeah. I think all this meant that we have a lot of topics to discuss today and the day tomorrow. We think that there are solutions because we are public service. We have some values like the quality, the independence. We are the only one to talk about minorities, minority languages. If there was no regional public service media, no one would have programs in regional language. That's one of our pride, I would say. Like the fact that we cover parts of Europe that are not covered by the national TV. And we hope, Johan and I, that will last for a long time. Not only on the classical TV, of course, on all the platforms, but we have to be on all the platforms because most of our viewers are still on the big screen. Maybe not in Sweden, but there is not only Sweden in Europe. We are so different. It means that we have to find solutions for the Bulgarian, the Swedish, the Spanish, the French, and you know, we are not the same, but we share at the end the same kind of problems. We want to do a good TV, reliable, and give the good news, I mean, real trusty news to our viewers, not the good news, because that's something else. And I think we can make it anyway.
Since this is my last conference as Secretary General, I'm handing over to Fernando Ojea, who's sitting here, during the conference actually. He will be ending it. I would like to quote myself. give me that privilege. And that is, a platform is what stays behind when the train leaves. Do we want to be on the train or with the platform? I think that's kind of cool.